Hi friends, I am Abhijit. Today, let us look at a dimension which is different from the body and the mind, which we call as consciousness. Especially for the last 20 to 30 years, a lot of studies have been conducted on consciousness. It is a very vast, indeed a very interesting subject. Let us take this pot. This pot is made up of clay. The clay is made up of particles of the rocks. The particles of rocks is made up of molecules. Molecules are made up of group of atoms. Atoms are made up of subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, electrons. Scientists have discovered what is known as superposition, in which several particles aside from electrons can be proven to exist in multiple places at a single moment. What does all this mean? It means that the more we discover about the subatomic world, the more we discover that we know nothing about the true nature of reality at all. The Copenhagen interpretations comes from the school of quantum mechanics, and it believes that reality does not exist without an observer to observe it. It is very important. The reality does not exist without an observer to observe it, as reality is nothing more than the energy. Then the energy is conscious when consciousness is observing it. Let us understand this in human perspective. A typical human weighing 70 kgs is made up of 7 billion molecules. That means if you take 7, add 27 zeros to it. That is the number of molecules comprise a human being. As we understand, the molecules are form of atoms. Atoms are the form of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are the form of quarks. Anything that we see and experience could be traced back to its origin as molecules, atoms, subatomic particles, quarks, and the energy. The ancient Indian philosophy, Advaita, negates the existence of anything other than the underlying ultimate reality that is called Brahman, non-dual. It states that everything that we experience emerges from a single reality. The world or the things we see are mere forms of the ultimate reality, or it is the manifestation of the Brahman. Today, the modern science calls it as consciousness. If we are able to perceive this correctly and realize our non-dual nature, it can radically transform our lives. Our real nature is not the body and the mind, but we are part of the ultimate reality, that is the Brahman, the soul, the consciousness, which is unborn and cannot be destroyed. It is eternal. As the ancient scripture of India, Bhagavad Gita explains, the soul or the Brahman experiences the world through this body and the mind. Body is like a garment to the soul. When the garment burns out, the soul takes another body. The soul is unborn, cannot be destroyed. It is eternal. Let us understand it in a simple way. Let us take example of a computer. Computer can do amazing things, and it will continue to as we go forward. It can compute much faster than a human brain. It has its own brain, CPU. It can communicate, Siri. Today, it can drive cars, the driverless cars. It can fight a war, cruise missiles. The advanced robots can understand and have human emotions. But in spite of all this, the computers does not have the awareness. It cannot experience as the humans do. And this awareness is what we say as consciousness. Let us imagine you are at a back seat of a driverless car and unfortunately the car hits a person. The car will stop. It is programmed to dial a nearby police station. Now let us understand your reaction in comparison to the car. Your reaction is radically different. You exactly understand the emotions of the person who is hit, which a car cannot do. This profound connect, this profound awareness is consciousness. The consciousness experiences this physical world through the body and the mind. Who is that? Seeing through your eyes, hearing through your ears. Consciousness is that awareness which is different from the body and the mind. Have we experienced consciousness? Let us look at 3 states of dreaming, waking, and deep sleep. In the dreaming state, you project a world of things, people, and experience. In the waking state, you actually experience the world through your 5 senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. These 2 states, dreaming and waking, are dual in nature. In deep sleep, where there is no dreaming, it is nothing but pure consciousness, a non-dual. But this 3rd state is common to all the 3. There are different stages of life, and the human body continuously keeps changing from its birth until it dies. Likewise, the mind undergoes changes throughout the time. But something is constant. That awareness. If you understand, there is something in you which is constant. When you are at the age of 5, or today at whatever age you are, something is constant, and that is consciousness. What happens to the consciousness when the body and along with it the mind dies? The consciousness remains. It is independent of the body and the mind. It is immortal. Attaining this experience of being immortal, the Brahman, the pure consciousness, is enlightenment. The Bhagavad Gita says the body, which is physical in nature, is Kshetra, the field of operations, where the operations takes place. The body cannot act by itself. The one who knows that, the knower of the body, is the operator behind it, which is called Kshetrajan, the Atma, the Brahman. Objectivity is the character of the body and the matter, whereas subjectivity is the nature of consciousness. There is something that you don't know, yet it is not unknown. What is that you don't know? And yet, it is not unknown. It is you. Do you really know yourself? Let's think for a while. We experience this world through this body, senses, and the mind. Who knows that I have a body, I have a physical body? Who knows that I have a mind? It is that awareness. It is that consciousness. The ancient Indian philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, considers the ultimate reality, the consciousness, the Brahman, as the only truth, and from where the universe emerged. The Indian philosophy and its ancient texts do not rely only on revelations, but it is based on three strong fundamental pillars: scripture, Shruti, emerging from the revelations to the rishis; enquiry, Yukti, rational reasoning; experience, Anubhava, the experience of the master and you yourself. A teaching can be true only if it is supported by these three pillars of scripture, enquiry, and experience. There is no insistence to follow the revelations as is, but it encourages you to apply your reasoning and experience before you accept it. Insistence of scriptures without allowing the reasoning and self-experience can lead to fundamentalism. Thank you so much. Namaste.